The morning began like countless others in Oakwood Heights. After kissing my wife goodbye, I helped my 10-year-old son, Ethan, pack his lunch. From the porch, I watched him stroll down to the bus stop at the end of our cul-de-sac. We'd only been living here for 3 months. The HOA, with all its stiff and absurd regulations, was still something we were learning to tolerate. What I never anticipated was that my child would become the next target of the association president's obsession with control. I was halfway through my first cup of coffee when my phone rang. It was Ethan. His voice wavered as he spoke. "Dad, there's a lady at the bus stop yelling at me about my backpack. She says it's against HOA rules and I can't wait here anymore." In the background, I could hear a high-pitched voice demanding that Ethan put the call on speaker. "I'll be right there," I told him, steadying my tone despite the irritation churning inside me. Grabbing my keys, I chose not to take my department vehicle. Sometimes it's wiser not to announce authority up front. When I reached the corner, I saw her immediately. A middle-aged woman with perfectly highlighted blonde hair, styled in the infamous "Can I speak to the manager?" cut. Dressed head to toe in designer athleisure, she towered over Ethan, flailing her arms at his Marvel superhero backpack, the gift I had given him for his birthday just weeks earlier. Ethan clutched it tightly, as though guarding far more than notebooks and pencils. "Excuse me," I said evenly, summoning the calm voice I'd perfected through years of police training. "Is there an issue here?" The woman spun toward me, her face contorted in self-righteous fury. "Yes, there is an issue," she snapped. "I'm Karen Whitfield, president of the Oakwood Heights Homeowners Association. Your son is in direct violation of our community aesthetic standards." Resting a reassuring hand on Ethan's shoulder, I asked, "And what violation would that be?" With triumphant flair, she scrolled through her phone until she located the clause she sought. "Section 12, paragraph 3, she declared. "All visible items on community property must conform to our neutral color palette. That monstrosity of a backpack, red and blue no less, is unacceptable." "You're saying," I replied, slowly, "that my child's school bag breaches HOA rules because it isn't beige?" Karen folded her arms, chin lifted like a judge delivering a sentence. "Rules are rules. The bus stop is on HOA property, and we maintain standards. If one child shows up with a garish backpack, soon it'll be chaos. Property values will plummet." I took a measured breath. "Ms. Whitfield, this is a 10-year-old waiting for his school bus. A backpack isn't a permanent fixture in the neighborhood. This feels like an overextension of HOA authority." Her cheeks flushed crimson. "Don't lecture me about authority," she barked. "I've been president for 6 years and know every bylaw. Remove your son from this stop immediately, or I'll call security." I couldn't help but laugh softly. "Security? For a child's backpack?" Ethan's eyes searched mine, full of confusion and worry. "It's all right, buddy," I assured him. "You haven't done anything wrong." The bus appeared in the distance, hissing to a halt. But before Ethan could step forward, Karen planted herself in front of him. "He's not boarding from this stop," she warned. "Not with that bag." "Those are the rules." That was the moment I revealed who I was. "Ms. Whitfield, I'm not only Ethan's father. I'm Chief Jackson Reynolds of the Oakwood Police Department. Preventing a child from accessing public transportation could be considered obstruction." Her eyes flickered wide, though she quickly tried to regain composure. "Being police chief doesn't put you above HOA rules," she muttered, though her voice quivered. The bus doors opened. I gently guided Ethan past her. "Go on, son." Karen grabbed my arm, acrylic nails pressing into my skin. "We're not done," she hissed. I carefully freed myself. "Please don't put your hands on me again," I said softly, but with authority. Ethan glanced back nervously before stepping onto the bus. I gave him a nod of reassurance as the doors closed and the bus rolled away. Karen jabbed a finger toward my chest without touching me. "You've just made an enemy. I'm calling an emergency HOA meeting tonight. We'll see how well your family fits in once you're slapped with daily fines. Keeping calm, I answered, Miss Whitfield, could you kindly point me to the bylaw granting HOA power over children's school supplies? She hesitated but lifted her chin again. It falls under aesthetic guidelines. As president, I have discretion to interpret them. I see, I replied. Then I'll be glad to review your interpretation at the meeting. I'll also invite the county code enforcement officer as my guest. He's been meaning to examine whether some of our HOA rules comply with state law. Her eye twitched. She turned sharply, heels clicking toward her pristine house. Just keep that eyesore of a backpack away from community property, she threw over her shoulder. I remained still, watching her retreat. This wasn't something to ignore. That afternoon, I called our attorney, then spoke with several neighbors who had their own stories of Karen's overreaches. By evening, the pattern was clear: harassment, intimidation, and possibly unlawful enforcement. The emergency meeting was set for 7 p.m. at the community clubhouse. I arrived early, this time in uniform. It wasn't my usual way of attending neighborhood gatherings, but tonight called for something different. Meetings usually run their course without incident, but occasionally a visual reminder of authority restores order. Karen had already claimed her seat, flanked by her usual circle of allies on the board. She stumbled mid-sentence when I entered in full chief's uniform. "Good evening," I said pleasantly, acknowledging familiar faces around the room. "I understand tonight's focus is on backpack regulations." A few neighbors chuckled, which only deepened Karen's scowl. "This isn't a laughing matter. Chief Reynolds," she snapped, stressing my title with a sting of sarcasm. "We're here to uphold community standards." She launched into her presentation, describing backpacks and other non-conforming items as visual blight. Her slideshow left no doubt she had been watching my family closely. One image was a close-up of Ethan's backpack, clearly photographed that same morning. "This," she declared, "is the sort of eyesore that erodes our property values." When she finished, she stared at me, expecting contrition. Instead, I rose calmly. "Thank you, Ms. Whitfield, for raising this issue. But before I address the matter of backpacks, we need to confront something more serious." I opened a folder. This morning, Ms. Whitfield physically prevented my 10-year-old son from boarding his school bus. She grabbed his arm and blocked his path. 2 neighbors witnessed this from their homes and provided written statements. The room went silent. I continued. "When I intervened, she also grabbed me, leaving these marks." I displayed faint red scratches where her nails had pressed into my arm. Under state law, that qualifies as simple assault, especially against a child. Furthermore, denying a student access to school transportation violates education statutes. Karen leapt to her feet, her face twisted with rage. "That's absurd. I was enforcing HOA rules." Around her, board members shifted uncomfortably. "Miss Whitfield," I said evenly, "no HOA regulation overrides state law or grants you authority to physically restrain residents, particularly children. And after reviewing the covenant in detail, I can confirm there is no clause regulating temporary items like backpacks, nor does the community color palette apply to personal belongings." Turning to the room, I added, "I'm not pressing charges at this moment, though I would be within my rights. I'm here as a resident and a parent concerned about the HOA exceeding its role. That's why I invited County Inspector Davis, who is prepared to conduct a full compliance review of our HOA practices." Karen's face drained of color as a woman in a county blazer rose from the back. "This is outrageous," Karen sputtered. "You can't bring outside authorities in without board approval." "Actually," Inspector Davis replied, stepping forward, "any resident may request a review, and my preliminary findings already reveal troubling patterns of harassment and selective enforcement." What happened next should not have surprised me, yet it did, Karen snapped. "This is a coup," she screamed, jabbing a finger at me. "He's using his position to intimidate me." In her fury, she hurled her heavy binder of HOA regulations straight at me. I sidestepped, but the binder struck Inspector Davis squarely on the shoulder. Gasps rippled through the crowd. I shifted into police mode instantly. "Miss Whitfield, place your hands behind your back." You're under arrest for assaulting a county official." Her eyes bulged. "You can't arrest me!" "I'm the HOA president," she wailed as I calmly recited her Miranda rights. As I escorted her from the clubhouse, the remaining board members hurriedly called a vote. Unanimously, they stripped Karen of her presidency effective immediately. "You can't do this!" she shrieked as we passed the bulletin board where her name and photo had hung for years. "Do you have any idea what I've done for this neighborhood? I've protected property values. I've preserved our standards." The following morning, she was released on bail, facing misdemeanor assault charges and a restraining order barring her from coming within 100 feet of my son or our home. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed her. The story of an HOA president arrested for assaulting a police chief's child was too sensational to ignore. Cameras captured every second as she tried in vain to hide her face behind a designer handbag. "No comment," she screeched, but it was useless. Her reputation was ruined, not remembered for enforcing earth-toned conformity, but for her dramatic and very public collapse.